Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
It was December of 2025. A big shock hit the world of technology. News spread quickly through offices and homes across the United States. President Donald Trump's government had just announced a major change for H-1B visas. These visas let skilled foreign workers come to America. Now, companies that wanted to hire these workers would need to pay a very high fee. It was $100,000 for certain new visas. This was a huge amount of money for many businesses. Maya, a talented engineer, felt a deep worry in her heart. She had moved to America years ago with an H-1B visa. Her big dream was to work in technology, to create new things, and to build a good life. The United States was always the best place for this. But this new fee put all her plans in danger. Her company, like many others, might decide it was too costly to keep staff who had these visas. Maya and thousands of other skilled workers faced a hard choice. They might lose their jobs and have to leave the country they had started to call home. A wave of panic spread among them. Their American dreams, once so clear, were suddenly shattered. But then a small piece of news brought a spark of hope. Reports began to come from the north, from Canada. They spoke of a new, bold plan, a talent drive that aimed to welcome skilled workers like Maya who were now in trouble in the U.S. Canada seemed to be offering a lifeline, a new chance for those whose futures had just become very uncertain. This new plan from Canada sounded almost too good to be true. Thousands of skilled workers, like Maya, looked with a mix of hope and doubt towards the northern border. This initiative from Canada seemed to be their last best hope to stay in North America. But what exactly was Canada really offering? And could it truly challenge the United States, a country that had always been the main place for the world's smartest and most talented people? 2. A big problem. For many years, the H-1B visa was very important for skilled workers around the world. It was like a golden ticket for smart people from other countries. They could come to the United States to work in special jobs, often in technology, engineering, or science. This visa let them stay for up to 6 years. More importantly for many, it was a clear path to getting permanent residency and a new life in America. But in September 2025, the United States government made big changes. The administration of President Donald Trump added a new, very high fee. For some new H-1B visas, companies now had to pay $100,000. This was a huge cost added to existing fees. Also, companies now needed to advertise jobs for 60 days before hiring a foreign worker. These changes made the process much harder and more expensive. These new rules had a deep effect, creating what people called a chilling effect. Companies that used to hire many foreign workers started to worry. It became too costly to keep sponsoring H-1B employees. Many tech companies told their visa-holding staff about these new problems. They warned that workers might need to find other jobs or even go back to their home countries. This created much fear. The very system that helped build places like Silicon Valley with talent from all over the world was now doing the opposite. It was actively pushing these talented people away. Thousands of highly skilled individuals, including engineers and scientists, suddenly faced a big problem. Where could they possibly go now with such uncertain futures? The United States, once a top choice, was closing its doors. This created a huge and unprecedented number of highly skilled workers looking for a new place to build their lives and careers. Just as America pushed them out, a powerful rival nation was getting ready to make a shocking announcement. This surprise could change the global economic landscape forever. 3. Canada's plan. Canada decided to act. In early December of 2025, the country made a big announcement. It was a new plan to attract smart people from all over the world. This was not just about immigration. It was a mission to stop many talented Canadians from leaving the country, a problem called brain drain. Minister Melanie Joly spoke about the plan. She said Canada was inviting H-1B visa holders from the United States. These are skilled workers who faced problems with their visas in America. Canada offered them a clear and fast way to become permanent residents. They could get a work permit and then become permanent residents, perhaps in just 2 years. To make this plan work, Canada promised a lot of money. It would invest $1.7 billion over the next few years. This money would help attract and keep international talent. $1 billion would go to a special program over 13 years. This program would bring international researchers to Canadian universities. $400 million would be used for new research equipment and buildings over 7 years. Also, $133.6 million would support top PhD students and researchers to move to Canada for 3 years. Another $120 million would help recruit new assistant professors over 12 years. Minister Joly sent a message to Canadians working abroad, telling them it's time to return home. She also invited international experts. If you want to live in the best and safest country that values what you do, come to Canada. The promises were grand and sounded good, but many wondered if this big plan would really work. Was there any real proof that Canada could truly attract top talent, or was it just a hopeful dream? 4. The first big wins. Canada's bold new plan had been announced, and many had questions. Could it truly attract the world's brightest minds? Now the first real answers began to appear. The significant investment Canada promised was quickly showing results, proving that its strategy was effective. Canadian universities were actively recruiting, and they were achieving remarkable success in drawing top academic talent from other nations, especially from the United States. In November 2025, the University of Toronto made headlines with exciting news. They proudly announced that 3 highly respected academics were joining them from leading American universities. Sarah Seeger, a very famous astrophysicist known for her groundbreaking work on finding new planets, was moving from MIT. Her research has greatly helped us understand worlds beyond our own solar system. Jacqueline Pless, an expert in new technologies and energy economics, also decided to leave MIT and come to Toronto. Her influential studies look at how new ideas can change energy use and policy. Lastly, Mark Duggan, a highly accomplished economist, chose to leave Stanford University, a top institution. He would take a major leadership role at the University of Toronto's Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy, a move that surprised many. These were not just any professors, they were academic stars. Sarah Seeger is a global leader. Jacqueline Pless has done critical research, and Mark Duggan is one of the most respected economists in his field. Their decisions to relocate were more than simple job changes. They were powerful signs that the movement of top talent was beginning to shift, influenced by Canada's more welcoming policies and investments in research. These moves clearly showed that Canada could now attract truly elite researchers and thinkers from America's most prestigious institutions. This made the threat to the United States' long-held dominance over global talent feel very real and immediate. It was no longer just an abstract idea. It was happening, live, and in front of everyone. Canada's strategic plan was indeed working, proving that its approach was effective in changing the global talent landscape. However, these early successes were only the beginning. The competition for global talent was just starting to heat up. Canada was not the only global power that recognized this new opportunity arising from the U.S. policy changes. Far across the Atlantic, a strong alliance of European nations was already preparing to launch its own ambitious effort to attract these valuable skilled professionals. 5. A world race. The fight for talented workers grew bigger. It was no longer just Canada against the United States. Now other parts of the world joined this global competition. A talent war. The European Union, a strong group of countries in Europe, saw the chance to attract skilled people. In May 2025, the European Union started its own big plan. They called it Choose Europe for Science. This plan showed how much Europe wanted to bring in top researchers and scientists. The European Union put aside a large amount of money for this. It was 500 million euros. This money was to help attract international researchers from 2025 to 2027. Other countries in Europe, like France, also promised more money. The Choose Europe for Science plan offered special benefits. Researchers could get super grants, which were large amounts of money for their studies. These grants could last for up to 7 years. The plan also offered money to help researchers move to Europe. And, importantly, they promised fast visas. This meant researchers could get permission to live and work in Europe very quickly. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen spoke about the plan. She said that science is an investment. She invited researchers from all over the world to choose science, choose Europe. She hoped to inspire young people to become scientists. By doing this, the European Union became a big player in the global race for talent. This made the competition much harder for Canada. The stakes were very high. Nations understood that having the best minds helps their economies grow. Losing these minds means losing future success in new areas like artificial intelligence and medicine. This global race was about a special group of people. These were highly skilled workers, scientists, and experts. Countries wanted these individuals because they could bring new ideas and help build the future. These workers were at the heart of this worldwide struggle. But while many rich countries fought to get these valuable workers, Canada faced a new problem. A crisis was growing inside Canada itself. Some people in the country were not happy with the plan to attract new immigrants. This growing anger could stop Canada's big project before it even truly began. This domestic problem threatened to make all of Canada's efforts fall apart from the inside. 6. Problems at home. While Canada worked to attract talented people from around the world, problems were growing inside the country. Many Canadians felt worried about their daily lives. Housing was a big concern. In large cities like Toronto and Vancouver, home prices had doubled over the last 10 years, making it impossible for many young people to buy a house. The healthcare system also faced difficulties, with longer wait times to see doctors. Public services were struggling with more people. Because of these issues, public opinion about immigration changed. In late 2024, nearly 60% of Canadians believed the country was accepting too many new people. This was the first time in almost 25 years that most Canadians felt this way. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government understood these worries. They announced plans to reduce the total number of permanent residents coming to Canada each year, from 395,000 in 2025 to 365,000 by 2027. However, at the same time, the government was launching its multi-billion-dollar plan to attract H-1B visa holders and top international researchers, investing $1.7 billion in this talent drive. The government explained this by saying that not all immigrants were the same. Highly skilled workers and researchers earned good salaries and did not need much public help. Instead, they would create new ideas, jobs, and improve important sectors like healthcare and technology. But this created a big question for the country. If Canadian citizens struggled to find affordable homes and get medical care, how could the government spend billions to welcome more newcomers? Public anger was rising, and many wondered if this new plan would have to be stopped before it even started. 7. The details and doubts. Many H-1B visa holders in the United States faced a hard choice. Canada had promised a new way to gain permanent residency. However, important details about this program were still missing. There was no clear launch date, which made planning difficult. People did not know the exact rules. Would they need a job offer in Canada before applying? What about specific salary expectations or language test scores? The Canadian government said it would share more in the coming months, but for now, H-1B holders had to wait and guess. This lack of clear information created a big dilemma. Should they risk their current situation in the U.S. by waiting for Canada to give full details? Or should they try to prepare and gather documents, even though they did not know what to prepare for? This uncertainty was very stressful for thousands of skilled professionals. Their future depended on a program with many unspoken parts. The new Canadian plan would mostly help one specific group of people. Around 73% of active H-1B visas in the United States belong to nationals of India. Most of these workers were in the technology sector. They also had important roles in finance, healthcare, and research. For these Indian tech professionals, Canada's offer was very significant. It presented a much-needed alternative to the increasingly expensive and unclear system in the United States. especially after the $100,000 fee for H-1B visas was introduced. However, not everyone felt confident about Canada's promise. Some experts and immigration lawyers had doubts. Even with new initiatives, the approval rates for other Canadian work permits and permanent residency applications had actually been declining. One lawyer noted that it felt like the government was looking for reasons to refuse applications more often. This made people wonder if the new H-1B pathway, despite its grand announcement, would truly be easy to navigate, or if it would become bogged down in bureaucracy. Canada also had official targets for how many people could become permanent residents in 2026 and 2027. It was not clear if the new H-1B applicants would be processed within these existing numbers, or if they would have their own special allocation. Questions also remained about whether there would be provincial limits, adding another layer of complexity. With so many unanswered questions, potential bureaucratic hurdles, and growing political opposition at home, the fate of thousands of skilled workers hung in the balance. Canada's bold promise might easily turn into a bureaucratic nightmare. 8. The final move. Canada made a very big move. It was not just a plan for people to move there. It was a careful strategy, like a game of chess on a global scale. For many years, Canada saw its smart workers leave for other countries. This was called a brain drain. Now, Canada wanted to reverse this trend and also challenge the United States for top talent. This was a clear message that Canada aimed to change its economic future. The country decided to invest a lot of money, $1.7 billion, into this plan. This was to attract special workers and researchers from all over the world. Many nations are now in a fierce race. They want the best brains to help their economies grow and lead in new technologies. Canada's plan was special because of when it happened and how big it was. It truly aimed to change Canada's place in the global economy. This bold move showed a new trend in how wealthy countries handle immigration. It felt like a new system was growing, one based on who was considered elite or highly skilled. Nations started to compete actively for these top talents, offering them easy paths to live and work. But at the same time, it seemed many countries were making it harder for other people to immigrate. This created a two-tier system, offering different rules for different kinds of people wanting to move. Inside Canada, there were some big problems. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government had publicly said they would reduce the total number of immigrants. People in Canada were worried about homes being too expensive and healthcare services being slow. But the government also spent billions to bring in these new, highly skilled individuals. This created a puzzle for many Canadians. They wondered how the country could spend so much to attract newcomers while its own citizens faced struggles every day. This situation highlighted contradictions within the government's policies. The world is now watching Canada closely to see what happens. Will this big bet help Canada become a stronger leader in science and business, reversing the brain drain for good? Or will the issues at home, like housing costs and public anger, make the plan fail under its own weight? The final outcome is not yet known. This moment is very important for how smart people will move and work around the world in the future. It clearly shows that the idea of the United States always getting the best talent can no longer be taken for granted. Canada has created a new, uncertain path forward. What do you think will happen to Canada's big plan in the long run?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.